5, 4, 3.
Alright, I think we're there. Okay. Hello and welcome back again. Best friend Cat here. We are back with rubiehart and Shadow of the Colossus. She's going to be doing a NTA, I don't know what that means. Bossrush random. So we're gonna have some of that. It's gonna be bunch of hitting bosses with sticks. That'd be great. That'd be fun. So yeah, we're doing really good on the goal. $748 of 1,000. Remember the original was 340, so we've more than doubled. It's only been 2 days, so thank you guys. It's fantastic. And with that in mind, Ruby, when you're ready, take it away.
Fantastic.
Let us know the timing too.
Yep, I will let you know when to start the timer. So NTA stands for Normal Time Attack Boss Rush. Once you've beat the game the first time, it allows you to go back and just bow before the statues that are in the center temple, so you can just fight the individual colossi rather than having to travel to their arenas. So what's going to happen is the first Colossus I'm just going to start with, but then for all of the others, I have numbers 1 through 16 on my chalkboard back here. I'm actually going to turn my camera a little so you can see it. And what I'm going to do is roll 2 d8s because I am a huge D&D nerd and I've got red for Ruby. And I'm going to roll these to figure out what my next Colossus fight is going to be until there are no Colossi left to fight. So the timer should start when I start this fight in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so this first Colossus is known as Valus in the community, otherwise known as, I call him my bear boy. So this one is basically a tutorial Colossus that teaches you how the mechanics of the game work. And if you've never had the chance to play Shadow of the Colossus, I really cannot recommend it enough. And the biggest thing about this game is each of these monsters are actually a platforming puzzle, essentially, that needs to be solved. So what I just did there is a lot of the colossi have weak points on different parts of their body. That way you can jump onto them. But during that first cutscene, you can actually move. So rather than doing the intended strategy that the game wants, which is essentially crawling up the architecture on his back, by running in that cutscene, I was able to grab onto the side of the face. And by being up here, I'm able to get in a position called a plant, where no matter what, no matter how much the Colossus moves, it's not going to be able to shake me. So I was able to get those first 2 stabs in. And then something you'll notice that I'm going to do a lot during this run is for the final hit of a Colossus, I'll do a jump stab that way. I can basically get the game, instead of doing what it usually does on a final hit of going into slow motion when the in-game timer is still running, I can essentially get it to go directly into the cutscene, so it's not taking extra in-game time. So let me roll the die here. The next Colossus is going to be number 4, so that is Phaedra. Okay, so Phaedra, otherwise known as Baedra by the community. I know Usurpering, who is my amazing commentator when I did Fleet Fatales with GDQ, it's her favorite Colossus out of all of them. And some of us refer to it as a horse, a giraffe, a llama, like I've heard a dragon even. So I'll leave it to your own interpretation. The way that you normally defeat this Colossus is there are a series of tunnels that you use in the arena to trick the Colossus into bowing its head, and you basically get it to think that you're in one of the tunnels and use Phaedra lowering itself to jump on. But what I was able to do instead was launch myself off of my horse, Agro, and now essentially I'm able to jump onto this back ladder by using the legs, and now all I have to do is take out the singular weak spot and sigil that this Colossus has, which is the one on the head. So let me see, I'm in a pretty good spot on the back. You can see another one of those weak spots, kind of like the one on Valus's leg. And, all right, come on, babe. Thank you. So by hitting that twice, Phaedra's going to lower her head, that way I can get onto the sigil. Whenever you're ready. Thank you. Okay, perfect. And now I'm gonna be able to get another one of those plants. Oh, that was a little clumsy of me. Not quite the plant yet. Oh no, come on, hun. All right, okay, perfect. So now we should be in a really good position. Yeah, we are good to go. And now is keep stabbing all the way home. And let me see, one more hit, and just like that, Phaedra is down. That is number 4. So 2 Colossi out of 16 down. And next, oh no! Die! Don't run away from me. Okay. And next Colossus is going to be number 6. Okay. Fantastic. Colossus number 6. This one, so Barba. I call him the Old Sage. The way that you would normally defeat this Colossus is he is in a huge temple area, and what you do is hide behind a set of pillars to get the Colossus to look for you. This is a very aggressive and very smart Colossus. As you can probably already tell, all of the different Colossi are different shapes and sizes and have different behavioral patterns. And that's part of the fun of the game, is seeing how all of them behave and how you can use that behavior and the environments to your advantage. Rather than using the beard or just getting him to basically kneel down looking for me to climb onto the beard, I'm actually going to use the physics of his arm movement to get me propelled directly to his head. So I'm gonna jump in the hand here and get on this arm guard. Let's see, Wander, whenever you're ready. Thank you very much.
Got a dono, by the way.
Yeah, please hit me with it.
Which I'm not too sure if I should read out the whole name. Some people have accidentally donated with their real names. Just be aware of that, guys. Patrick, I won't say the second name just in case.
Okay.
With a $20 donation saying, babe, chat, join the Crystal Crew. Thank you for that $20, Patrick.
Thanks, Pat. I'm pretty sure I know who that was. An incredible moderator, streamer, very dear friend of mine. So thank you so much for donating. It's a really good cause. I'm glad money is going to something that is good. So what you saw there with that strategy is I was able to use the physics of no, Barba, don't do this. Barba, don't do this. Okay, so here's the unfortunate thing. The way that I just land. Wait, one sec. I might actually be able to recover this. Give me a sec. So this is not ideal placement that I'm in. Ha! Yes! Okay, amazing. So, unfortunately, when you land on those bottom kind of waistband, belt, stone things, it's very hard to recover from that, but thank goodness I was able to get back up, which saved quite a bit of time. So, nope, and then I lost grip. All right, we're gonna retry that. That was unfortunate. Basically, as you saw, what happens with the movement of the arm is I'm able to get the Colossus to propel me directly onto his head. And then there are 2 different sigils on this Colossus. One is on the top of the head, and then the other is on the back. And the back one is a little trickier because you have to really watch your stamina and make sure that you're all set with the grip to get in enough stabs. But luckily, each of these sigils only needs 2.5 stabs, so I don't have to be in that placement for all that long. The only reason why I lost all my grip there was I ended up falling a little too low when some of those shakes happened. So it's unfortunate. It's not a super common thing, but it happens. So let me see. Barba's gonna go ahead and get some shakes out here. So whenever you're done and ready and good, I would love to just not do this part. Let's see. Okay. And then with another 1.5 or 2.5 stabs on this back sigil, which you don't actually have to be directly on top of it for this Colossus. The hitbox is actually pretty big. Oh, and then of course it moved underneath the Colossus. But once I get in these last 1.5 stabs, then I'm gonna be all set here. So there we go. Just like that, Barba's down. Number 6, we are good. Okay. If you have any more donations, now is a good time to read them, just in between the Colossi.
No, but when I hear numbers, I think of that weird voice dude and a number 7. 1300. No, I ain't got any more donations at the moment. But
Okay.
yeah, as you guys know, we're supporting direct relief with COVID efforts. So help out if you can, if you want. But otherwise, just being around is helpful enough. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So let's see. The next Colossus I'm going to be fighting is actually a community favorite of ours that was in the Team Eco Marathon Awards. It was voted the most beloved or popular Colossus. So this is going to be number 13, Phalanx. So this Colossus is one of the only 2 Colossi that flies, and it's actually the biggest Colossus in the game. But the thing that's really interesting about it is, unlike all of the other Colossi that if you agitate them, they will attack you. There are even some that just will come directly for you to attack you. This Colossus is a complete pacifist. So you're the jerk in this situation. Honestly, there's no way to really sugarcoat that. And the way that he flies is he has these air bubbles on his stomach that you can see I'm shooting out. So in order to get onto this Colossus, I have to shoot out those air bubbles. Those are taken out already. And now I can just fly towards the Colossus. Perfect, we got all 3. So now what you're gonna see is Phalanx is lowering her wings. So once she rounds this corner, I'm gonna go ahead and meet her on the other side. And I'm gonna need to jump onto those wings in order to be able to get onto the back. Now, the thing that's interesting and kind of a difference between the way this game is normally, or this Colossus is normally played, and the speedrun strategy is, oh no. Okay, I was a little too close to the stand for comfort there, but we are all set. So for most of these sigils, a regular person would just do full stabs into each sigil. And the problem with that for speedrunners is if you do 2 full stabs to the sigils, it actually causes an animation of the Colossus doing a barrel roll. And it also, this Colossus, once you start stabbing, has a timer that starts running. So if you do full stabs and you get those barrel rolls, these panels will eventually close and you can't actually defeat the Colossus all in one cycle. It will dive back down into the sand, and then you pretty much have to start back from square one of shooting the bubbles out, getting back on. But by doing 1.9 stabs, so going just below that, I'm able to avoid that animation of Phalanx doing the barrel rolls. And let me see. Okay, perfect. So the first 2 went really well, so all I need to do is the final 2 stabs on this sigil. And Phalanx is down. There we go. So that is number 13. All right, who's next? 9. Okay. Oh boy. Number 9. Bassaran. One of my least favorite Colossi in the whole game. So this Colossus, there are 2 different strategies to beat it. The first one is, well, so the intended strategy that the designers wanted people to use was, I refer to this Colossus nickname-wise as the Turtle Boy or Geyser Boy because there are geysers all around his arena. And the way you would normally defeat this Colossus is by luring him over one of those so that the geyser pushes against his stomach and knocks him over. That would then allow you to climb up. But what I'm going to do is completely skip having to use the geysers, and I'm going to be essentially running underneath one of the legs to the ribs in order to get myself flung onto the leg and directly onto the back. So go ahead and watch for it, and I'll try and explain it as it goes, but it goes pretty quickly. So let me see. And this is one of the more terrifying Colossi because if you're running around for quite some time, he shoots fire. And the fire, surprise, surprise, hurts. It's awful. So once I see the eyes, I'm going to go ahead and skip the cutscene just for the sake of the general timing of how the Colossus animation works. And once he starts charging up that fireball, I'm essentially going to dodge and come under here. He's going to start basically preparing to do this jump and smash into the ground. And that's going to allow me with this animation cycle to grab onto the ribs, and then I can just climb directly up the back. So I don't have to worry about the geysers or anything else. I'm just already here. And that's probably saved me a solid 2 or 3 minutes that would normally be attached to this fight. If you want to calm down, babe. Thank you. Okay, fantastic. And the first half of this the first half of the health meter is a little harder to take out than the second half, because unfortunately, even though there are technically plants on this Colossus, any time that a Colossus puts you completely upside down, that will actually shake you out of a plant, no matter how hard you try. No! I hate you. Why would you do this? So it will shake you out of that plant. But the nice thing is, once I'm able to get the Colossus to half of its health, it's gonna stop doing that animation and instead switch to doing a side-to-side shake. So I just want to get it to that halfway point, and then that's gonna make the rest of the fight much, much easier. Let me see. Wander, Wander, what are you doing? Sorry, Wander's being a little stubborn with me today about wanting to, like, keep the grip on the fur of the Colossus's head. Let me see. Okay. And Bassaran's gonna have a day. We're just gonna give him a minute to get those shakes out of his system. Okay. And I will say, one thing that's really nice is if you miss the strategy in the boss rush, it's pretty easy to just hit retry and get yourself back in the perfect positioning to try again. However, if you're doing it in any percent, which is essentially a run of the full game, the problem with that is you can't just easily reset to the same position or getting the same animation cycles. However, there is something that we use in this game that we call tactical deaths, or tactical yeets as my community refers to them. And basically what that means is if there is a Colossus that has a very specific setup for the beginning of the fight, and you want to reset it, a few of the Colossi have very conveniently placed nearby cliffs, this being one of them. And by using that cliff and killing your character, you're able to essentially reset the fight, and it actually saves a lot more time than trying to use the intended strategy. And the next Colossus I'm going to be fighting is number 10, so that is going to be Dirge. Alright, let's see. I see that Goose the movie said he's annoying casually and speedrun wise. Yep, I 100% agree. The next Colossus is a really fun one. When I played it casually, I actually had a really hard time with this Colossus because I didn't know how to aim backwards on the horse. But now that I understand how that mechanic works, it's actually one of my favorite fights. Not my absolute favorite. I'll talk about that when we get there. But Dirge, or Dirgy Dirge, as he is referred to in the community, is a sandworm. And the weak spot on this Colossus to get to the sigils is actually his eyes. What you're gonna see here is this Colossus has absolutely gigantic eyes that when he starts chasing me are going to peek out of the sand. And in order to basically throw off this Colossus and get him to knock into something long enough that I can start stabbing those sigils, I'm gonna need to take out one of those eyes. So let's see. And first arrow, perfect. Okay, so I want him to either hit one of the pillars, or if he misses that, yep, it looks like he ever so slightly just, sometimes they kind of scoot around even though they're at a right angle, just if you're not exactly in the right direction. But he's gonna go ahead and hit this wall. And what I'm gonna do here to get the one cycle, kind of like with that flying Colossus, is I have to do a very specific amount of damage to this first sigil in order to get a one cycle, so he doesn't dip back under the sand. So I'm gonna do 2 stabs, and then 1, 2. Oh, I way overstabbed. Woof! Oops. Alright, well, we got a 2 cycle. That's fine. This is fine. Everything's fine. The unfortunate thing is, sometimes when I'm focusing on the commentary, I lose the timing for that, but that's okay. The really nice thing, too, is it's usually better to understab on this Colossus than overstab if for some reason you get the wrong percentage. Because if you understab on that first sigil, you can essentially fling yourself at it, and you only have to do what we call a sexy slash's worth of damage. And that basically just means that, let me see, perfect. That basically just means that all you have to do is lightly tap something with your sword, and it will do the last little bit of damage. But let me see. Now that I've got the Colossus on the wall, I'm gonna go ahead and head towards that second sigil one more time. And then all I'm gonna need to do is a final 3 stabs. And let me see. Just like that, the Colossus is dead. Perfect. There is Colossus number, 10. All right. The next Colossus is going to be number 11. Oh, I love this one. Okay, so the next Colossus is one of the, I refer to them as the small boys. The small boys are definitely my favorite Colossi. So the problem with the small boys is, yes, they are much smaller in size, but their hits pretty much instantly stun lock you. So if you get hit by one of these Colossi, it is absolutely brutal. They will just keep batting you around until Wander dies. And they're also extremely quick on their feet. So I'm gonna need to do everything I can to dodge this Colossus. And the big trick with this fight is Celosia is afraid of fire. So the way that you would intended strat-wise beat this Colossus is by getting a torch and then swinging fire in front of his face. The big difference, though, between the speedrun version of the strategy and the regular version is normally when you get that stick, you just wave it in front of his face and he slowly backs up until he basically falls off of the cliff that you're gonna see me head towards, and that knocks the armor off of his back. What I'm gonna do instead is basically a tricking of the AI of the Colossus. So I'm gonna go ahead and light this. Let me see, perfect. I don't even have to hold it up. All I have to do is get close enough and it lights the torch. And if I'm close enough to this ledge and I just kind of switch between the torch and my weapon, it basically tricks the Colossus into thinking, I can attack you, and then when you pick up the torch, oh, just kidding, you're scary. So it gets the Colossus to the edge of the cliff a lot faster, and that is going to allow me to just get directly onto the back, and all I have to do for this Colossus, because he's very small and doesn't need to take as much damage, is 2 stabs, and I've got the plant on the back half of the butt, which is perfect, and that is number 10 down, or number 11 down, excuse me. Okay, next Colossus is going to be number 9. Okay, amazing. Wait, no, I already did 9. 8. Okay, 8 is going to be the next. Just kidding. So number 8 is Kuramori. Personally, this is another one of my favorite fights, mainly because in the midst of all the other Colossi, some that go really poorly some of the time, some that go wonderfully, this is probably the easiest Colossus speedrun strategy-wise, because you're not doing anything that's too different from the intended strat. You're really just optimizing the time. So this Colossus, my salamander boy, lives in a coliseum, and what I'm gonna need to do is whistle to get his attention. All of the Colossi respond to sound, so that's gonna allow me to get the Colossus headed where he thinks I am. So by whistling here, I'm gonna then actually go down 1 level so that I can get to this really beautiful open vantage point. He's gonna start climbing up to where he thinks I am, and then when he's about half to 3/4 of the way up the wall, I'm gonna go ahead and shoot his arms where those weak spots are. And the higher up he is on the wall, the longer he's actually gonna stay down, but when he goes down, he's gonna stay stun locked for a bit, and that is going to give me just enough time to stab these sigils. I'm also, for this first one, going to do what are called cycle stabs, where you essentially let go and re-grab really quickly, and that allows you to get faster stab cycles in. So all I have to do for these is 2.5 stabs to each sigil, and just like that, in 51 seconds, number 8 is down. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 left to go. So we are halfway there. And at 22:57, I'm happy with how that timing is going thus far. Next, we already did 8, already did 10, Already did 4. Already did 10. This is... Already did 13. 5! There we go. We have not done 5 yet. 5 is the other flying Colossus, my birdie boy, otherwise known as Avion. So this Colossus, this and number 3 are honestly, I think, 2 of the most iconic Colossi as far as the art is concerned. So even if you've never played the game, you've probably seen art of these 2 Colossi. So this one is a huge bird over an arena of water. So if I mess up here, it's gonna lose me a lot of time because we don't want to fall in water and have to reset or do anything else like that. Having to get out of the water is honestly a pain. So what I'm gonna do is, as soon as I get over to that platform, I'll switch to my bow so that I can shoot and get the attention of this Colossus. Much like the intended strategy, I'm going to jump onto one of the wings so that I can get on top of it. And this Colossus has 3 sigils. 2 are on either of the far ends of the wings, so it is a very cool and very terrifying fight. And the final one is on the very back of the tail. So, like I said, I just launched off that arrow, and now that the Colossus is sweeping down, I'm gonna wait for these wing cycles and do a little bit of let go regrabs just to make sure I'm on the top side rather than the flat front of the wing for when he stops waving. Now there is a little bit of RNG involved in this Colossus because the wing there has the option to either go up or down. If it goes up, it actually gives me better animations to drop from one wing all the way directly down to the opposite. But because I got that down wing, I could only really drop to the middle. And now I'm just gonna need to try and get to that opposite wing while Avion is doing the annoying animation cycle. So we as speedrunners much prefer getting the up wing and being able to just drop directly down to the opposite. But it's fine, we're gonna work with it. Okay, so both wings are now out. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop. Ah, no! I'm so sad. Okay, I'm not gonna reset that because I'm close enough to the platforms. I'm just gonna get back on. But oh, that was so upsetting. I let go just a little bit too late from that wing, so unfortunately I hit the water. That's so upsetting. Okay, but that's fine. It's okay. All I have to do is wait for Avion to do a circle around, and then the moment that I shoot him, all I have is one more sigil. So we're just gonna keep rocking this. All right. Hey, babe. Baby, come back. You can put it all on me. Come on. Babe. 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 The problem with this Colossus really doesn't like coming close to you, so shooting, there we go. Once I get those orange eyes, that lets me know that I got the right positioning. And I'm gonna put myself on this middle platform just to make sure no matter what, I get one of those 2 wings. Perfect, okay, great. So now that the wings are taken out, all I have to worry about is getting to the back of the tail. And the really cool thing is there are some sigils where the hitboxes are a lot more narrow, so you really do have to be right on top of the sigil to hit it. But there are others where the hitbox is much, much wider than you would expect it to be. So much like you saw with Colossus number 6, I didn't actually have to be directly on top of the sigil to hit the one on the back. So for this Colossus, oh my god, you were swinging around so much today, hun. Can you level out, please? Thank you. For this Colossus, all I have to do is be on the back third of the tail, and any of that is gonna register damage. So, perfect. We went ahead and did this, and with the final jump stab, Avion is down. A 3-minute is a woof. I am not super happy with that time. But considering how well a lot of these other Colossi have been going, I'm just gonna take a deep breath and say it's part of speedrunning. And we're gonna move on with our lives to the next Colossus. We've already done 9. Let me see. This would be number 12. Okay, cool. Let's do it. Oh boy, okay. So, number 12 is one of the hardest Colossi in the game. it's not a super fun time. It's really cool though. I personally love the design of this fight, even though speedrun wise it is very hard to get exact. So this fight is with the Colossus known as Pelagia, or let me see, where am I? Let me find my life. Okay, there's Pelagia's statue. So Pelagia, Colossus number 12, I call the dentist, or I also have heard him referred to as the Node Colossus. I've heard him called Toothy Boy. So, and the reason for those nicknames is the way that you move this Colossus is he has a set of teeth on his crown. What I'm gonna do in order to mount this Colossus is just get off a few shots onto the face with the right timing. And that's gonna allow me to, oh no, unfortunately I was ever so slightly out of range there. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and hide behind here and get the Colossus's attention. She's gonna take a minute to try and shoot me. And then after that happens, I'm gonna get an animation where she dips her head, and that's gonna allow me to jump onto her face. Now, the reason I say this is one of the hardest fights is there are two main reasons for that. The first is this is the Colossus that probably has the most variance in its behaviors. No matter how much you think you're going to be able to predict how Pelagia behaves, sometimes she just decides that she's not going to do it that day. So I have had many times where I get the animation cycles exactly right, and no matter how proud you are of how good you are at this game, sometimes just the Colossus decides she doesn't want to cooperate with you. The other reason is the sigil on the stomach of this Colossus has very specific damage inputs, and I'll get to that once we actually get onto the stomach. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead, usually in order to get this Colossus to jump onto the platform, you have to hide for a second in order to get her attention. But when she charges up this attack, there's actually this really cool glitch where if you jump onto her face, it automatically triggers that animation. So just like that, Pelagia is already up, and I'm gonna wanna be on like the top third of this sigil, so we're in pretty good placement here. So I did a full stab, then I get to do a 95% stab, and then 2 more full stabs in order to get, no! I overstabbed. Wow, I swear I'm good at this game, y'all. This is just really not a good run for me today. Wow, okay.
We do have a donation.
Yeah, read out the donation so I can live in my shame for a minute. Yeah.
Anonymous with the $6 says, best runner, question mark? Best runner. That's it.
I mean, I appreciate that. I, charisma-wise, like to think I am a pretty good runner, but this is not my best work. So many of these Colossi have gone so wrong, but I'm still having a great time, so I think we're gonna be just fine here. There we go. Hello. Okay, there we go. Nice. So I got the recovery on the head. I'm just gonna need to get her to one more of these platforms in order to get the final hit. That's the unfortunate thing. Like I said, this is a very tough Colossus because the damage inputs on the stomach are so specific that if you end up in ever so slightly the wrong placement, you can get shaken out of place and not actually hit the hitbox. There are some times where if you ever so slightly overstab or understab, you end up not being able to get in the amount of damage that you need to, so you have to do a 2 cycle like I'm doing now. But I'm going to be able to take her out just with 1 more hit. So let me get to the stomach here. And there we go. Pelagia is down. That's number 12, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more Colossi to go. Let's see. Next is going to be number 7. And this is the final one that I consider a really, really hard Colossus. Just that's like one of my nemesis. The others are just going to be a good time. So this next Colossus is called Hydrus. Hydrus is a Colossus that primarily lives underwater. And the way that you would defeat it normally is Hydrus, when he kind of sees that you're in the water, will get agitated and swing upwards. And that actually allows you to climb onto the tail when it pops out of the water. Now, what I'm going to do instead is there's a very specific amount of jump stabs that you can do if you're in exactly the right place in the water. And if you get them just right, it allows you to jump onto the head of the Colossus. So you can skip all of the run up the back. You can skip the nodes on the back, because this Colossus, Hydrus, we refer to as Sparky Boy. He is an electric eel, and those things hurt like crazy. If you stay too close to one for too long, then they do an insane amount of damage. So let me see. I am in just about the right place. I'm gonna wait for Hydrus to do a swing up. And then once the head starts to dip downwards in the water, I'm gonna do these jump stabs to get Hydrus to turn the head. And we got her just above the water, which is perfect and exactly what I want. Oh no! Oh my god, are you kidding me? Oh wait! Huh! Hang on. Okay, usually if she doesn't dip her head when you do that stab, she just goes straight under the water, but we actually got insanely lucky here, so I'm still gonna be able to get the one cycle. So I just have to do a few stabs as she's pulling her head out of the water, and it's pretty quick timing. Let me see. All right, come on, work with me here. Work with me here. I believe in us. I don't believe in us. I'm gonna reset. That was awful. Okay, here we go. So the mistake I made there is, unfortunately, I wasn't far enough forward when it comes to the stabbing of the head. So let me see. You have to be in exactly the right placement, so you not only take out that node on the head, but you also get damage done to the sigil, and that's gonna allow her to start doing those animations of bobbing up and down, and you can start immediately stabbing. By stabbing as far back as I did, I didn't quite get the right animation cycle, so it just made that so much more difficult for me. Let me see. I'm gonna try this one more time. There we go. Okay. So let me see. Okay, perfect. So that time I took out the node and I got damage on the sigil, and now I am exactly where I want to be, and this is gonna allow me to get that one cycle. So there's one stab, and I think one more, and we will be good to go on this fight. Amazing. Okay, and just like that, Hydrus is down. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more. Let's see, we've already done 9. We've already done 9. Come on. We've already done 9. Okay, I'm gonna roll 1 die for just a single digit. Okay, 3 is next. There we go. Oh, this is, okay. I absolutely love this run. Or this Colossus. This is a really fun one. This is that other Colossus that I was saying is really, really iconic when it comes to poster art. So actually, if you look at the poster art on my back wall here for SOTC, that is Gaius right there on the bottom that Wander is standing on the head of. So this Colossus, I refer to as the warrior. And the way that you would normally defeat it is he has extremely fragile armor and a sword affixed to one of his arms. Now, the thing that you would normally do is there is a metal plate in the center of the arena, and by getting him, essentially tricking him into hitting that with his sword, there is a huge arm guard that would normally prevent you from climbing up the fur on his arm. But by getting him to hit that center platform, it breaks the armor so that you can climb up more easily. What I'm going to do instead, though, is there is a really cool series of jumps that you can do on the arm to get yourself to launch from below all the way to the top of his head. So I'm going to see if I can get that. Let me see. And what I'm doing right now is he has 2 sigils, one on his head and one on his stomach. So I'm just shooting the sigil that I know is on his stomach as many times as possible. So by the time I get there, I have less damage that I have to deal later. Perfect, there we go. And there's the Gaius launch, or the Space Jam as we refer to it in the community. So if people put Come On and Slam or Space Jam in the chat, That is what they were referring to. And then once he starts to bring his head back up like this, I'm gonna see if I can get a plant here so that I don't get shaken as much and I can get in these stabs quicker. It looks like we do have exactly the right positioning for that. So perfect, amazing, I love it. I have to do 4 stabs to the head. And after this, he's gonna cock his head back, and that's gonna allow me to jump to the back of the Colossus. Oh, that was a little close for comfort, but you know, it's fine, we're here. And now I should be able to just get the damage directly on the stomach sigil. And I only have to do about 3 stabs here, and we are gonna be all set with this fight. Okay, with how the last few went, I am so glad that that just went so smoothly. Heck yes. Number 3 is down. Okay, let's see. The next Colossus is going to be number 2. Okay, awesome. Ugh. I'm getting in a few stretches. I got my second COVID vaccine yesterday, so I'm very excited about that, but my arm is a little sore.
You're now immortal.
I'm now immortal! That is clearly what I actually would joke with my friends that, oh gosh, how do I put this? I would joke with my friends that the reason I got into speedrunning was so I could become unto a demigod. It was solely an inside joke with friends, but now I truly have become unto a god. And really quick, if you have any other donations, now's a good time to read them.
There are no more donations, but this is a heck of a scroll run anyway, so it's all good. Keep going.
Amazing. Okay, so this Colossus, Quadratus, there are actually 2 pretty distinct, or there's a huge difference between the speed run strat and the any percent run and the boss rush. So with the any percent, you can actually activate the cutscene on the cliff behind us, and that allows you to start the fight in a, like, basically by jumping directly onto his back. What I did instead there is shot the back foot immediately so that I can get onto his leg. The first thing I was trying to do was jump onto that butt platform, but unfortunately I just missed the timing there, but I can get up the leg really easily, and that saves me a lot more time. Usually you have to wait for a whole animation of Bassaran lifting his legs and then stomping them in the air and having to shoot it there, but as speedrunners, we're able to get it in the much smaller animations that give you a lower window of time. So the butt sigil is already out, and now I just have 1 more to deal with on his head. So I just need to make my way forward. Let me see. And this one has a very specific plant on the head. We're gonna see if I can nail it. I think that's the right positioning. Yeah, I think we're gonna be good to go here. Fantastic. So all I have to do is, once I've landed this plant, 2 more stabs, and 121. I am really happy with that time. Awesome. Number 2 is down, and we have 3 more Colossi to go. Okay, let me see. The next Colossus is gonna be, oh, actually number 16. So we're gonna do the final Colossus next. Oh, this is fun. So this fight is with Malice. Malice, or my tallest boy, is, as a casual player, extremely terrifying and very appropriate as a final fight in a video game, because it not only absolutely towers over the landscape that it inhabits, but it does a ton of damage, has heat-seeking missiles, and the area is completely pouring with rain. The way you would normally defeat this Colossus is the environment has bunkers and barriers built in that would allow you to roll and dive from place to place so that you can use underground tunnels to safely get up underneath the Colossus. And then from there, as you're going to see in a second, the second part of the fight is just climbing this huge, towering behemoth. So we're going to get to that part of the fight in a second. But what I'm going to do is actually completely avoid the tunnels until the final one. And there is a specific pathing you can take so that you can more easily run up to the Colossus. I'm gonna get hit like once or twice, but once I get on the right pathing, the Colossus isn't actually going to be able to hit me because it's not going to register. That's a place that I would normally stand. So let me see. Come on. Yep, so there we go. So once I'm here, it's essentially gonna hit the side of this platform rather than actually hitting me as long as I stay close enough. So let me see, and that allows me to run all the way to the final tunnel. So that saved me probably 3 or 4 minutes of time from what the normal strategy would be, and just like that, I am already under the Colossus. This is going to be a quick unskippable cutscene that just shows you how tall it is, and also gives you an idea of how to take on the next phase of the fight, which is just the climb. Now, the final part, once I get up high enough, this is a Colossus that has 5 or 6 different weak points that you have to worry about. So there's one on the back that then allows you to jump onto one of his hands. When you hit his back, he puts a hand to it like, oh god, that hurt. You jump into his hand, run up an arm, use that to jump onto the opposite hand, and then shoot his shoulder from the hand. It's all sorts of nonsense. It's a really insane pattern. But what I'm gonna do instead is just shoot the final weak point from the very start by basically shooting towards what looks like his armpit. So I got it with the second arrow there. I'm gonna climb up just a little bit higher, and he is bringing his arms straight down to me, so I don't have to worry about climbing any higher on the Colossus. And then once he raises his arm to take a look and say, yo, bro, what's up? Why are you climbing me? I'm gonna be able to grab onto his chest, and just like that, I've skipped so many different extra steps, and I should be able to get the plant here and just stab him all the way home. Amazing. Okay, perfect. Let me see, and I think I've got 2 more hits that I need to deal. Yep, and let me see. Final hit, Malice is down. Okay, and the final, let me see, the second to last Colossus for today is going to be number... Oh, come on. I keep re-rolling the same ones that I've already beaten. 15! Okay, oh, we're gonna end with my favorite Colossus. That's fun. That's awesome. Okay, great. So, the next Colossus is Argus. It's actually very appropriate that the second to last in the normal run actually fell that way during this boss rush. So with this Colossus, the way that you normally beat it, I refer to him as the champion, Argus. He is absolutely massive, has a hammer, and the way that you essentially climb him is by getting him to break different parts of his own arena until you can climb up and get him to drop his hammer. He has 1 sigil on the head and 1 in the palm of his hand. What I'm going to do for this Colossus, though, is actually a little bit mind-bendy because it's a physics abuse. There is something very strange built into this game that you can use on a few different Colossi, where if you side jump in specific points, you can actually do these really crazy launches onto different parts of a Colossus. So let me see. I went ahead and by jumping sort of past the hand, but not quite, I'm able to use what we call Wander's magnet hands, or just the magnetism, and that essentially allows me to jump into the small bit of fur in his palm that I normally wouldn't be able to get access to. So that allowed me to stab that, and now I basically scooch 1 little scooch in by grabbing this knee, and if I jump right as the other foot is hitting the ground and then side jump, oh no, I missed it. We're gonna do it one more time. That's fine. This is a very rapid fight, which is why I'm trying to explain it so quickly. So like I said, we're gonna get that foot to stomp, and then I'm gonna jump to this side of the leg. I'm gonna use the magnet hands to jump into this palm. Perfect, I'm in just the right position. I only have to do a single stab here. And, oh, I was actually able to grab directly onto the leg, which is great. And then once Argus almost has that foot hitting the ground. I am able to do a side jump to directly launch to the shoulder. That was much better. And now I'm going to be able to just crawl all the way to his head and get in these final stabs. I think, yep, I was able to land a plant there, so now he's not going to be able to shake me, and I can just stab him all the way home. And just like that, that is a 46-second Argus. That was fantastic. And the final Colossus is my favorite out of all of them. It is number 14, Zenobia, my good guard dog boy. This is the other small boy in the game. He is a Colossus that will instantly stun lock you if he hits you, but it's because he lives in a little city that he does a good protect of. He loves protecting his little city. And as you can see in the chat, everyone is just spamming the emote for that Colossus because I love it so much. We love it so much. And that emote was actually designed by an incredible member of the community, Azuma, who does a lot of community work for Team Eco speedruns. So if you haven't followed his channel, highly recommend. So with this Colossus, what you're going to see all across the landscape, there are different towers. And what you would do in the intended strategy is get Zenobia to knock over each of those towers one by one until you essentially get a bridge. And you can climb all the way across it in order to eventually break the armor on this Colossus's back. What I'm going to do instead is skip all the way to one of the final pillars. And there is a strategy. There are two different strategies. One of them I'm going to try and see if it works. If it doesn't, I've got a backup. But it's called the super jump. So if you hit the jump button as quickly as possible when getting to this final pillar, you can get yourself to essentially launch insanely high into the air. So let me see. Okay, unfortunately, I didn't get the timing there, but that's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and do the adjusted. And that jump that I just did is called the Kaze Jump. And basically that uses the same kind of physics abuse that Argus used. So by jumping close enough to a ledge, even if you're not exactly there, if the game recognizes, oh, I'm close to a ledge I should be able to grab onto, Wander will just magnetize to it and immediately drop into that space where he, quote unquote, should be according to the game. So by using the Kaze Jump there, I'm able to skip a bunch of those other platforms and pillars. And now I just need to shoot Zenobia a few times. And now I'm gonna try and do what's called the Wacky Jump, which is there is a little cliff over here. And if I landed on it right, then I'm gonna be able to, let me see. Okay, I didn't land on it quite as I wanted to. Let me see. But by getting onto this cliff, rather than having to run all the way over there and hope that Zenobia doesn't hit me, because there is a little ladder where you can climb up, it allows you to just get directly onto this platform. Now that Zenobia's done that little turnaround, I'm able to switch to the sword, and this platform is what's going to knock off Zenobia's armor. So heads up, the timer is going to be stopping as soon as I do the final hit on this Colossus, so I will let you know when it's time. So let me see. Okay, so once we're here, I'm gonna go ahead and just jump onto this Colossus, and getting a jump stab there always just makes me feel generally good about life. And then I need to get into a plant. Once I am there, I'm gonna be able to just stab this Colossus all the way home. Yep, you're not moving. You're not going anywhere. Nope, I'm not playing this game with you right now. Okay, we've got 2 more stabs. Let me see. I love you, Zenobia. You're wonderful, but you gotta go. Let me see. And time. And that is Shadow of the Colossus. Bossrush random. Ugh. I will say, this is not my finest work. But the Colossi that went well went really, really well. The Colossi that went really poorly, and we had memes and a great time. But that was insanely fun. Thank you so much for having me on the marathon. I really appreciate it. And if anyone in the chat has a few dollars to give to an incredible cause, to Direct Relief, please try and drop a donation if you can, and stick around for the other runs that I'm sure are just going to be absolutely wonderful and super entertaining with all the other runners who are here. So, hey, Kat, if we have any other donations, that would be... Oh, wait, Kat's not even here. But yeah, that's Shadow of the Colossus. If you are interested in seeing me run SOTC more, you're always welcome to follow me, and the Crystal Crew would love to have you. And if this is a game you're interested in speedrunning, you should absolutely join the Team Eco Speedruns community. It's one of the most inclusive groups of gamers from all over the world, of different races, gender orientations, sexual orientations, religious backgrounds, just everything in general. So it's a really diverse, incredible group of people. And if you want to learn the strategies, we're always helping each other. So we would love to have you. So that's it. Kat, thank you so much for having me on.
Nice. Me? You don't need to thank me. You need to just thank yourself for coming. You guys are who makes the magic here. Remember that. And thank you everyone for the donations and the support. And it's been fantastic. It's been fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Right. Well, any closing words at all? Or what you just said.
I just said a lot of them. Give PowerSpring your support if you can. If you're interested in seeing any other content from me, I am a speedrunner of this game, and I'm adding a few more to that list, as well as a streamer, actor, and multidisciplinary theater artist based in the DC metro region. So I do a lot of content that brings together the worlds of theater and video games. So if that's your jam, if you like the arts and like gaming, then feel free to come join us. So yeah, that's it. That's me.
Well, you're welcome to leave whenever you like. Thank you for running.